Are you sad, Andrew?
Dude, I'm sad.
AJ, are you sad?
I'm big sad.
Small PB, big sad.
And here we go. Back to the behind the scenes podcast where we talk about pee-pee.
No, but seriously, we're going to talk about Juice WRLD because Juice WRLD passed away last week. AJ and I were big fans. Richard didn't really listen to his music that much, but...
Yeah, I'm 30. So he will.
Okay, that is not an excuse because you listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine and Bad Baby. You can fuck off. You can fuck off. You can fuck off.
I never thought I'd be so personally attacked.
You are simultaneously a boomer and a fucking zoomer.
Hey, you swing, we swing back.
I just had to call you out on that one.
Dang.
I don't listen to Juice WRLD. I'm 30.
That's not what I'm...
Listens to a 17-year-old.
I just meant I'm disconnected from the juice, man. So
Okay.
my perspective on the juice is going to be coming from I used to do a lot of drugs. That's going to be that's going to be my perspective, and why, and these two guys were fans and they knew his music and they knew about him, and what I'm tired of is we've got people dying left and right on the streets. We've got teenagers dying all the time from overdoses, and it's this massive, huge epidemic, and a lot of pharmaceutical companies are behind it, and it's this big, major problem, and it's getting to the fact that these musicians, we've got XXX, we've got Peep, we've got now Juice,
Mac Miller,
these guys talk about their using in their music a lot, which not necessarily is a bad thing, but it just kind of normalizes it to the point where everyone uses. It seems.
Well, it gets to the point too where even talking about it, even in a way where you're just talking about your struggles with it, it normalizes it in a way where you're like, oh, well, if this guy who's so successful is struggling with it to deal with his problems, I can deal with too, or whatever. And it's definitely harmful in that way.
It's both a good thing and the bad thing, because it's a good thing because at least it's being talked about.
True.
But it's a bad thing because these kids are like, oh, well, if he coped with
I want to try lean.
Yeah, if he coped with his problems, then I can cope with my problems by doing it the same way. And it's like, no, that's bad. You want to not cope with using drugs, and it seems to be I remember, this goes back to me just saying I'm 30, I remember when it was about drug dealing. I remember it was when you were a drug dealer and you were a seller and a hustler, that was cool. Now it's turned to
back in my day.
Yeah, I know, I'm a boomer. So it's it used to be that, and now it's drug using. It's oh, I'm so sad, I'm gonna get high about being sad.
Yeah, emo rap.
Yeah, and it's it's got to the point where they've got a lot of underlying issues, and their underlying issues they don't deal with in a proper way. They don't seek therapy. They don't have groups. They don't get clean. They don't surround themselves with positive people and positive thoughts. It's they use these drugs to solve their problems, but they might not even be problems. They're just difficulties that they've gone through. And
well, the thing that I think that everyone has to keep in mind with a lot of this stuff is, with Juice WRLD, he was 21 when he died, right? 21, and he got famous when he was 19. His career was basically 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And when you blow up so hard like that, he had some major hits. I mean, I think on SoundCloud, his two most famous songs are the ones that he came out with when he was 19, Lucid Dreams and All the Girls Are the Same, right?
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, he those two popped off really hard, and they both on SoundCloud have over 100 million plays each, and it's climbing even more now that he's gone. And same on Spotify, I'm sure it was even more because SoundCloud always has smaller listenership. But
yeah, I watched the numbers. It was at 25 million. It's not.
I think it was at
correct, but it went up to 35 million monthly viewers.
Monthly listeners. Yeah, 35 million monthly listeners. His listenership on Spotify increased over 450% after he passed away. But the point I was going to make is, from the time he was 19 to 21, I think he was dealing with all these problems that
he probably had before he even got famous.
He got famous, but then also, how can you trust people and who can you call real friends, and like people are trying to get around you. Do they have good intentions, or are they just trying to get with me because now I'm famous and I got money? Or, you know, like it's really hard to trust people and know who's in it for the good and who's just in it for the fame and the money and being around you. Because once you get to that level of fame that he was at, anyone who's around him just gets elevated and gets famous too, you know?
Yeah, I think it has to do with it's like a good problem and a bad problem, right? So independent artists, independent music, people that don't require a record label to get to where they're at anymore can build their own management teams, can build the people around them, they can go on tour. They don't need industry folks, but industry can serve a purpose by having wranglers and by having like, you know, like babysitters and like making sure that they're not using too many drugs and like, and that their mental health kind of might be in check. You know, like there's some certain things where it's like they might have, like if he's signed to like some record label.
He did.
He's
been signed for the last like 2 years. He signed to, I can't remember who he signed to, but he did sign. He talked about that too, because there's a lot of things that a record company can provide, and he went through a lot of, not auditions, but you know what I mean? He went to a lot of record companies because a lot of them wanted him, and he did actually sign to one. So, I mean, but I agree. Like, I think having, if you're independent, you got no one around, everyone's a yes man, and no one's going around you telling you.
Infrastructure, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's crazy because I think in the industry, there's like drug use is just so prevalent that who's to say what's too much? Because you got like people that are OGs in the game that have lasted long time, and they've been very public about their drug use. So it's like, you know, it's hard to police it when at the end of the day he's his own person and he can fire whoever he wants to fire if they're telling him to stop or whatever, you know.
I agree.
Well, I think AJ was going to say something.
Juice WRLD was signed with Interscope Records.
Yeah, Interscope.
But what I was going to say was, I think we were talking about it the other day. Just like I kind of felt the way that his friend Ski Mask was feeling. He's like, because he had his best friend like X gone, and then
because he was like best friends with XXX Tentacion, and then when X died, no, Ski Mask was best friends with X.
Okay,
and then when X died, him and Juice WRLD bonded over X dying, kind of, and now
because they're like, oh, we both just lost a good friend, so let's be friends.
And now X is gone, or now Juice is gone too.
So, but another thing too is like, those like famous people, and just from my perspective and what I would think is like, those are like really the only people you can trust because you can really relate with them the most.
Totally.
So it's like, who I can trust these guys, but you know, just the people. I mean, I would still feel skeptical about like my girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have any major modicum of success, and I still get suspicious of people. Like, I'm still like, what do you want? Why are you here? Why are you talking to me? What do you want?
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably like a little bit of just like overprotection, like low-key paranoia just from like my history or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely, I think it's fine to have your guard up, but honestly, when you don't even have time to have your guard up, right? When you kind of have to like blindly trust and blindly follow people that have your best intentions, but more than likely probably don't. Like they're just trying to advance along with you. Like, there's so many people that jump on coattails, dude. Like we know this. Like it's just a reality of, it's like the second you start doing something good, everyone's like, yo fam, how can I be a part of it? And it's like a year ago.
Yeah.
A year ago. When we were like, that's when.
He talked about some family members that came through the woodwork and were like, you know, hitting him up with cousins he hadn't heard from in years and shit like that. But, you know, that's to be expected. The hard thing is like, how do you even make friends, and how do you even fucking trust like anybody, you know? Because also the other thing is he grew up in Chicago and he wanted to get out of there as soon as possible, because like when you're in, you know, a bad area and you start to do good, some people go back to the projects and stuff like that, like after they hit it big, because they're trying to flex. And he was just like not interested in that at all, because that's how X died. You know, it's like you're rich, you're stunting, you're driving a BMW, and then all of a sudden someone just shoots you because they're mad because you're killing it and they're not. You know,
and they knew you had a handful of cash.
Yeah, so he moved to LA and he hasn't been back. He wasn't even back in Chicago because that was like, I think one of his biggest fears is he was gonna get shot or something. And then lo and behold, that wasn't the reason he died at all. But he was always rapping about dying young. Like, it's crazy. Like, in one of his music videos, I think it's Black and White, he literally, there's a memorial for Juice WRLD in the music video with all the pictures and flowers set up like he died, and he's sitting there like in his own memorial. That's fucking eerie.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also eerie to think that like the whole die young thing is pretty like predictable. Like
it's creepy, man.
It used to be like Hendrix dies at 27, and then Amy Winehouse dies at 27, and then Mac dies at 27, and everyone's like, "Oh, 27's a number. 27's a number." But it's like it's getting younger and younger, and like I know that too from like being in the rooms of NA. Like when I first started going there 5 years ago, to have someone who was under 18 in there was pretty rare. Now there's like 14, 15, 16-year-olds that are like, yeah, I've been shooting heroin since I was 9. And it's like, the fuck? You know,
well, I think it's a combination of the internet that's exposing everyone to just like the world at an even younger age, because you can start to like look into shit, you know? Like, you know, back in the day, you had to, if you wanted to see like porn, you had to find a magazine or something like that, and it was hard. DVD, but now it's like video. A kid can just grab his freaking iPad and watch like the most hardcore shit ever that people 30 years ago hadn't even considered being a thing. You know, like you can just take it to 100 so quick. And to touch on the dying young thing, Juice WRLD made a song last year called Legends after X died. And in the lyrics, he's talking about all the legends. He said, "I don't want to be a legend because all the legends seem to die young." And he said, what's the 27 club? We ain't making it past 21. Like, that's literally a lyric in the song. And he fucking died 5 days after his 21st birthday. Like, literally, he just had his birthday.
It was like that weekend. Like, his most recent post was like his birthday celebration. And then like 2 days later, he died.
Yeah, in the song, he literally says, "What's the 27 club? We ain't making it past 21. Like, that's fucking crazy, dude.
Do you think
he knew? Like, he fucking like listening to his songs now. It's so eerie because he's literally almost sounds like he's predicting his own demise.
Do you think that he could somehow have contributed to that?
I'm sure. I think he kind of manifested it in some way. I don't know. I don't believe in like manifestation as in like, oh, you like believe in this thing and now, you know.
Well, your actions and behaviors you can cultivate. I like the word cultivate better.
Yeah.
Like he could have cultivated that.
Well, I have demise. A screenshot of some of these lyrics actually, because I took them a while ago because I was listening to one of his songs and I was like,
I saw a really interesting theory. Wasn't there a tweet he put out like 2, 3, 4 years ago that was like, my goal is to blow up, shine for 2 or 3 years, and then fake my death?
Literally, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, is that a possibility? Because you can fake a seizure. A seizure is pretty easy to fake. You know,
I mean, they've been saying that about Tupac.
I mean,
yeah,
that's true.
I mean, I think he's really is our generation's Tupac. I think we were talking about it.
Yeah,
I mean, people said that about X too, man.
Yeah, but But the thing about Juice that's actually kind of beautiful is that he was widely celebrated even before he died. Like, he was very popular.
X was kind of controversial, especially with him like abusing his.
And a lot of people didn't really know his music until afterwards, whereas a lot of people did know Juice WRLD's music, and he still died. Like, he accomplished so much in 2 years, which is insane. Like, he did so much, and like everyone who worked with him in the studio is always talking about how he could just pump out songs. He could do like 10 songs in a studio session and it'd all be bangers. Like, he wrote his latest album in like a couple of weeks or something stupid. And like some people will say like, oh, well, that's just you being lazy and not taking your time with it. But he's just a wizard with that type of stuff.
Or it could be that his music came from his demons.
Yeah, he never wrote anything, just like Lil Wayne. It was all up top. Like, he never wrote a single thing down.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like, if you are in your head all day, every day, trying to run and hide from your demons, and you're taking pills or whatever, like if you're off your drugs for even a couple of hours, like those feelings like come in a huge wave.
Totally.
And it's like, if you have an outlet, which is music, you just sing about that. And then it's like,
yeah, it's his outlet.
It's super real. And I think the reason why people relate it to it is because we've got these famous examples of people dying young, but I've got a unique experience where I see people die young all the time. To me, in my world, it's not uncommon to get a phone call or get a text being like, so-and-so's dead. It's like, oh, yep, cool. Like, I don't even like have reactions to it anymore. Like, it's kind of, I'm kind of sad that I don't get sad anymore. Where I'm like, okay, I mean, it was predictable.
Well, because
like they came in, they got clean for a little while, and they go back out, and it's like, oh, they're definitely dead now. And
you've talked about it where you kind of grieve their death before they die.
Yeah,
like
I pre-mourn.
You know that they're kind of like relapsing or whatever, and it's just like I'm just waiting on that fucking call because it's the same old story, dude. Like, it happens a lot.
And I get excited when they come back, but I'm also still not sold. Because I'm like, oh, it's like the recidivism thing. It's like,
well, what's the % of relapse in rehabs and stuff?
It's not measured, but it's extremely high. It's just like same thing with like people going back to jail. Like if you're a criminal, you're probably still gonna commit crime.
You're like institutionalized or whatever.
If you're a person who uses drugs, you're probably gonna continue to use drugs. Like I was lucky because my drug use wasn't attached to a lifestyle. Because a lot of people are addicted to the lifestyle.
Totally.
So I didn't have a lifestyle to go back to because I mostly used on my own. Like I was pretty much isolated and like used on my own, and doctors were my drug dealers, and I didn't really have any like friends that I used with. So, and I wasn't being social. Like I wasn't a partier. Like I had no lifestyle attachment to it. But a lot of people, when they get clean, life is pretty boring. So it's attractive to want to go back because you get addicted to this lifestyle. Like
especially that party lifestyle and stuff.
I'm rare. I've got one white key tag. I've got one. That's it. And most people.
What's a white key tag?
So when you first come in the rooms, your very first day, you pick up a white key tag.
NA?
Mm-hmm. Or a white chip or white key tag.
For people listening, Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah. And then every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years, you pick up like key tags. And then after 2 years.
It's like the equivalent of a chip in AA.
Basically the same thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're different colors in AA. I don't even know what they are because I don't do AA. But
I have a black belt in AA.
But yeah, it's not uncommon, especially people that like get out of treatment. They've been clean for about 30 days, and then they go right back out and they fill up the syringe to the same amount that they used to shoot up. And since they've been clean, they don't have tolerance anymore, and they just overdose, just boom, just like that.
Yeah, because they're doing the same amount that they did before, but now their body's not used to it.
Yeah, or they have a new dealer who's giving them something with like fentanyl in it, and they're not used to it.
Jesus.
And then there's even now fentanyl, which is, so fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than morphine. Fentanyl is 1,000 times more powerful.
Why is it called CAR?
Like the chemistry archetype, you just modify it like
slightly.
I don't fully understand.
But do you know why it's called CAR? Does that have anything to do with cars or something?
No. Like
it's just like another name.
It's just a precursor. I think it's gotcha. So it's fentanyl and fentanyl.
Huh.
There's just a precursor.
It's like
kind of like poppy seeds can be
engine fuel and car fuel or something. Because isn't fentanyl supposed to be horse tranquilizer or something like that?
It's for
like why did they invent it in the first place?
For anesthesia.
Oh, okay.
For anesthesia purposes.
Because it's like so ridiculous that they would even make something that's strong.
Yeah, carfentanil is for like elephants to go under surgery.
Oh,
like,
fun.
For like elephants to have surgery.
And they're giving it to humans. Cool.
Well, I mean, the labs in China that are making it, yeah, totally.
But why would they spend the money to make something that's more potent and put it in stuff and lace shit?
It's not the manufacturers, it's the dealers. The dealers are trying to like, heroin just isn't around anymore. Like heroin isn't imported, isn't exported. Like poppy fields aren't being grown. Like
it's just hard to get.
All the opium, all the opiates are being sold to Big Pharma because Big Pharma is a huge drug dealer in this game. So now you have to get like synthesized opiates, which are fentanyl and they'll like take a Xanax pill press and then put fentanyl in it and press it so it looks like a Xanax, but it's full of fentanyl. Or they'll take like the same kind of like baggies that they usually put the heroin in.
Is fentanyl cheaper? Or or it's just accessible?
To manufacture. You can make it in a lab. You can't make heroin in a lab.
Interesting.
Heroin comes from a plant. It comes from a poppy plant. You can't make it in a lab. You have to have like an actual field that like grows it. And a lot of people, but fentanyl is made.
And you can only grow poppies in certain areas, right? Like Afghanistan grows it, right?
For example, yeah.
Does it have to be like a desert climate or something?
Not sure.
Huh.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
So the reason they put fentanyl in Xanax is just to keep people coming back?
Well, it's not real Xanax. But it's,
they're trying to trick people into thinking it's Xanax?
Yeah, because they stamp the pill to make it look like a Xanax.
It's a pill press. It's a pressed pill that looks exactly like a Xanax, but it's not a Xanax.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
does that kill people?
All the time. But they just call them like like most Xanax from like the pharmacy are like 1 milligram, right? And there's like 3 little notches. And you can break them up into bars, and like your average person who like actually needs them might take like a third or like like 2/3 or like a whole one, and that'll last them for 4 or 5 hours. But like Peep died from red Xanax, which were quote unquote 10 milligrams, but they weren't. They were just fentanyl. They were not. They were called Red Devils because they were red and they could apparently like majorly fuck you up.
Yeah.
So like people think they're on Xanax, but they're not.
So fucked up, man.
But you can get Xanax. Like, you can still get it, but it's like if I'm a drug dealer, am I going to spend $1,000 on Xanax powder and then make 1,000 pills and then sell them for $10 each? Or am I going to spend $1,000 on fentanyl powder and then cut it with baking soda and then make 10,000 fentanyl based Xanax?
Fake Xanax.
Fake Xanax.
Do they do the same thing?
Like, what's more profitable?
Do they basically do the same thing? Like, could you be taking those and it would kind of give you the same effect? Because it seems like if there's all these people dying from it, it's like you're literally killing your customer base.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but wouldn't you run out of customers?
No.
Yeah,
and if they hear
that's like my question. I was just like, well, if you were gonna like put like fentanyl in your Xanax, that would keep you. Oh, dude, this shit's hard. Like, I'm gonna come back and get more of this stuff. Like, that's what I was thinking.
Most people's introduction into drugs is through their doctor. Almost everyone's initial introduction to barbiturates, amphetamines, Xanax, like meth is different because meth is like country as fuck, and you can
make it with like battery acid,
like car batteries, and like that. Sometimes that's for people's first introduction. Sometimes coke, because it's kind of a party drug, that can be people's introduction. But to opiates and benzos, so like Xanax and Percocets, those are usually introduced through a doctor, and usually have like legitimate pain, and then you then start lying about your pain, and then you get a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then you like have another injury, and before you know it, you're like doctor shopping around. But like, it gets to the point where the doctors either catch on and you're not allowed to go to practices anymore, or the pharmacies catch on and then you're not allowed to go to the pharmacy anymore. So you're now addicted to these drugs. Like, where are you gonna go? You're gonna go to the street. You know, you're gonna go hit up the dope man, because it's also way cheaper too. And then at that point you need more and more and more, and you gain a tolerance, and it's more powerful and more powerful and more powerful. And it's like, so there are some people, like I know a guy, his forearm, so when you shoot up fentanyl, it's black. So he's got, his forearm looks like it's been tattooed, like his veins look like they've been tattooed black, because he's poked himself in his veins so many times. He's like, you can see all of his veins where they are, because there's like,
it's always called black tar heroin. Is it actually black?
No,
that's different.
I'm talking about fentanyl, not
okay. I didn't know if those were similar.
Well, there's two types of heroin. There's white that comes from China. It's called China white, but it's not heroin anymore. It's fentanyl now, because they don't send it over anymore. Huh. And then there is black tar heroin, which is a gooey tar that comes from Africa and like Afghanistan and stuff like that.
Interesting. Is that why, like, have you ever seen like those people that get full black tattoos, like where their arm is like fully black? Do you think sometimes it's like disguise shit like that?
Probably not. I mean, that's just like a tattoo.
Because what's the really famous Kat Von D, I think, or one of those no, not Kat Von D.
A lot of times when people,
who's really famous and had really awesome art and is like a famous tattoo artist, just got her whole forearm like fully black, and people are like outraged because she covered up all this stuff, and they're like, what the fuck? And she's like, well, I got it done by this really good guy who does like really deep blacks, and I really like that aesthetic, so I did it.
I mean, black work is it's a thing, and also it's like,
I don't like it.
If you want a new tattoo, you can either spend a year trying to laser off the tattoos you have and then have a cover up built over top of it, or you can just do deep black work, and then if you want another tattoo, you do a white tattoo over top of it.
You can put white ink over black?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So then you can have a black base. So it's like drawing on black paper versus drawing on white paper.
Interesting.
Like white paper.
I didn't know you could do line work with white ink. Doesn't white ink come out easier though too? Like, it wears out quicker?
No.
Interesting.
Well, it could, but like,
it fades quicker, kind of, because it's like the same color as your skin, I guess.
I don't know why, to be honest. I'm not that heavy into tattoos. A lot of people use them for highlights. Some people don't, but
I did want to go back for just a second, because I wanted to read this quote from one of the, I know we kind of like evolved past Juice WRLD, but I just thought this was like too interesting to not bring up. We didn't
evolve past Juice WRLD at all. We're still talking about like addiction and drugs and people dying.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this is like a serious topic.
So this is the quote from this song Legends. It says, all legends fall in the making. Sorry, truth, die young, demon youth. And then he says, what's the 27 club? We ain't making it past 21. I've been going through paranoia, so I always got to keep a gun. So he's definitely paranoid. Damn, that's the world we live in now. Yeah, hold on, just hear me out. They tell me I'm be a legend. I don't want that title now, because all the legends seem to die out. So people were calling him a legend, like, already. And he's like, dude, don't call me a legend, because, like, all the legends seem to be dying. And it was... Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode that clip was from, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. And if you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right here.